Hello everybody, welcome to Contest Realm Podcast, episode 88. Dan, am I right, it's 88?
88.
Yeah, brilliant. And welcome back, hello. We missed last week, mainly because of me, and I haven't adjusted to daylight savings time in that everyone else is on daylight savings time, and the UK is not. We're back, we're on it this weekend. Today, I think, if this goes up on Sunday. We're available on YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, and all of the relevant podcast places. Go and check that out to put us in your ears and things. Dan, hello.
Hey, Rich. You've been a busy boy.
Yeah, I've posted a lot of content.
You have, yes.
And I do plan to kind of continue that on, especially because this is part of the 1 month on, 1 month off thing. So I've got lots to do. And as well, I just want to get my first ever rank for 6-star.
It is starting to feel real for those of us who haven't bought every offer.
Yeah,
That the light is at the end of the tunnel. The shiny new object is almost within grasp with that rank up gem at the end of Act 7.
what are your thoughts on? Oh, we'll talk about the deal in a minute. But what are your plans for grind at the moment? In places.
I mean, I'm all in on Act 7 and want to get it done as soon as possible. I mean, I'm in the middle of 7.3, so it's going to be a little bit just based on real life. But I'm trying to get paths done whenever I can because for the first time I in a long time, probably since the end of Act 5, I'm really motivated to complete 100% an act. I've never felt this way about Act 6. I still haven't done it.
Yeah,
100%. So this is, I'm enjoying Act 7. I like the content, and I'm excited to move my account forward. So I'm pretty happy with how it's coming together overall.
I mean, I'm doing the same. I'm enjoying doing as I said in a previous podcast. I'm more inspired by the way that you tackle the content, in that you kind of you go into a quest and you literally make that quest your bitch and you 100% it and then move on to the next one and the next one, or at least leave the last quest where there's a boss where the muscle memory is in. You kind of you focus down that, and I love that. I think that's kind of a great way to look at it. Doing that is probably one of the ways that I've been able to. I enjoyed the Kang boss fight the most. I think.
Oh, nice! I'm glad to hear that.
Most people that I've seen and have talked about it, they enjoy that fight the most. The Grandmaster fight, didn't enjoy it as much, but the Kang one, just because it's rotation around special attacks. Do you have X amount of power bars? Yes. Then that's good. You get a charge, and a charge is a good thing. And same thing with the others. Not that you have to concentrate on, okay, well, I've got to bring a counter for Miz, is inverted controls, and you start putting a list of things that are kind of problematic, and you're like, oh, right, well, this is this, and I've got to prepare for it. Yes, it does bring out the highly skilled, that's cool, but where does it leave the average Joe like myself who just wants to kind of go in, thrash fingers and thumbs on a screen and go, hey, let's see what happens. Oh, by the way, shout out to Ghost Dog and to Vega, who were in the comments of the last time we did the podcast. Always good to have people out and about, especially on YouTube. What has your week been like, Dan? Because I know we haven't spoken in a couple of weeks. Is it a couple weeks?
It's we're getting back into our big show grind. So I am working a show tonight. I worked a show last Saturday. Last week was kind of a mess because we've got a lot of on sales, and I'm just working a lot. I think I put in a 13-14 hour day on Saturday. So I was dead last weekend. I did not get much done in MCOC or in life. I was just dead on my feet. I was like, what is the most productive thing I have energy to do today, and the mental capacity to do? And it ended up being raking leaves. That was in me on Sunday. So just kind of burning the candle on both ends. It's good to again, it's good to be back, working, doing what I do. But it's not much free time.
No.
Oh, my wife and I did get to go see The Lost City last night, so that was
cool.
fun.
Is that any good?
So that was our first date night in like months.
Was that Channing Tatum and
Channing? Yep, Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. So that was some good, clean, harmless fun. Good date night movie.
I've heard good things about that. Like, I know some people are looking, go like, oh, that's those two, and it's like, well, how they kind of bounce off of one another. But I've heard like a lot of people positively like quite like it.
It's fun. It knows what it is.
Yeah,
and it's it's not trying to be anything like super serious. It's just a fun little comedy. So I'm all for it. We can all use a little light fun these days. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately I haven't had much time for MCOC, so I've really been I've been focusing on this side quest because I think it's good rewards, and then trying to pick off some Act 7 paths when I can, and really other than that, it's just AQ and war for me right now.
Yeah. I've got such a big focus now to get my 10,000 units before, like the
yes, and you got lots of helpful guides about getting units. So if folks need to get those units, check out Rich's YouTube page. And we should point out something very important. That deal goes from 10K to 12K on April 23rd.
Yeah, you've got to get grinding, and that's the sad side of things. I'd say if you've got a good chunk of units already, it's possible, right? It's possible. If you don't, it's a tough one.
It is a tough one. I mean, it's gonna be there when you get there. It just might not be there at 10K. It might be the regular 12K price. So are you planning on buying one of the bundles? Is that your goal right now?
Bundle 1 will see me with my first ever free choice rank 4 6-star, and that is then going to be Dr. Doom, and then my second follow-up will just be kind of like whatever comes to the 100% of the RNG factor, which I'm like, I don't really mind what it's going to be, but still, like, if it's, because there's loads of possibilities. I saw you talk about Apocalypse, and I'm the more on like Twitter and, with Cab, and I was like thinking, oh, do you know what? Apocalypse does actually interest me, especially from an extent of what is possible from that champion. Like, what is the improvement on the ticks per debuffs? Yeah, that interests me. Damage potential overall interests me. But Apocalypse is like just such an asset to any roster.
Right, he's so well rounded, and he solves a lot of problems. I mean, there's been quite a few times when that SP2 concussion has turned something off and saved me.
Yes.
I just imagine the health pool at rank 4.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, just he's a beefy boy.
Mm-hmm. That's what I like.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, I feel like there's been a lot of back and forth about those offers. It almost feels like the people that are a little ahead of us that already have a rank 4-2 are not as fussed by it as maybe we are, where we look at it and like, oh, this is really my first crack at some of these items in a good quantity.
Yeah. And that if you've done Karina's challenges, or if you've done everything, you may look at it in a kind of a different fashion. But I just don't escape the fact that if you look at Cyber Weekend deals, and I did some the comparison on this, in Cyber Weekend deals, you got half of a tier 3 alpha for 5,000 units. For an additional 5,000 units as well, so 10,000 units overall, you were getting half a tier 6 basic. And that's just like, look, 10,000. If you really think in July 4th deals that you're going to be getting what you got for 10,000 units in this offer, I think you're going to be very disappointed. So snap this offer up before you get disappointed by July 4th deals. Is my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it the same way. That's like, if the July 4th deals are as good as this offer, they're going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So, I think the other thing is we don't know whether they're going to run the Deadpool event at the end of April.
Correct.
That Deadpool the Bloom event like they have the last 2 years, but that seems to have been really popular. I'd be surprised if they didn't bring it back because money.
That's true.
But we'll have to see.
Yeah, from a non-spending perspective, and like I am now, as of today, funnily enough, whilst we're recording this, I am officially 3 months non-spending a Marvel contest, and there's that big divide that I'm really kind of seeing. That if I'm looking at the Deadpool spring cleaning, which let's face it is predominantly spending, there are elements of the free to play that improved on the 2021 versus 2020 and gave something, to players that don't spend in the game. That's the big kind of like divide there of going, well, look, you're probably going to get something that's going to elevate your roster a little bit. If you are in a Thronebreaker capacity, yes, you're going to get something for it. But from free to play, take that 10k unit deal and run with it. Take any kind of unit deal where you get that much tier 6 basic and tier 3 alpha and run with it, because I'm going to stick my neck out there and say I'm pretty certain free to play will feel let down by spring cleaning, and they will feel let down by July 4th based on what other people can pick up, or what July 4th is compared with Cyber Weekend. And there's a lot more to that to kind of look into, but I think that, and I was going to do like a video, I've got like a note to myself going like, Kabam video idea, it's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's like
a sure thing.
I've got this like little piece of paper saying it's a trap deals theory video, and it's just like that's like I've got to go into that a bit more. But essentially, I'll just be repeating myself and what I've done in other content. But I feel that video will kind of go a little bit more into it. But I just like it because I'm a Star Wars fan. Dan is like, it's a trap. It's like,
oh, absolutely. You got to break out the Admiral Akbar anytime you can.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go back to the structure of the show, and there's a few more things we're going to go into. But first off, did you get a chance to see the part 2? Is it called Elegy?
Yes. Yeah, and honestly, it made me a little sad.
It did. It's really good.
There was more emotions than I thought I was going to have.
Yeah.
Going into that. And some really interesting implications for the future of Marvel Contest of Champions. So even if you haven't played Realm, I think you're gonna want to watch this, because there's some answers in there. I don't know how much you want to spoil. But there's some answers about where a certain someone has been who hasn't appeared in a character map.
Yeah, I think
in a while.
Let's do that. Let's go in hard, because I've got a video going out today. So like Friday, which is in like the news show, breaks down so many things. So where do we really start with? So I've got the video up, and if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to be able to see it, and I'll be able to give you some kind of narration for online stuff. So Maestro is dead, Dan.
Yes, they got him. They had to call in the whole multiverse, but they got him.
Yeah. It's all going. He's all got like all the shards of the various people coming in from like the different universes. By the way, it's very, very clever. If you watch Multiverse of Madness and kind of have a look at this kind of like stuff, this will give you serious kind of nostalgia.
There's some similar visuals.
Yeah. And then everyone's rushing towards him, killing him down, and he gets something through the chest by a mysterious person that's not been here for a while. Who's that person, Dan?
That person is the Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
And Punisher's got a little bit of a power boost as well.
Yeah.
So apparently, like, there's this, what's it called, the CyberSerpent?
That's sorry, I got that wrong in our notes. It's the
is it ChronoSerpent?
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Okay, I thought it was ChronoSerpent. Then you had CyberSerpent. I was like, oh yeah, I'm not familiar with this character, so you might be right.
I'm never right, Dan. I'd always say something stupid I wasn't meant to, and then I'm looking back, going, "Oh, I said the wrong thing." Oh, you tit, Richard. But yeah, like, it was surprising to see him, because I was just like, "What the hell?" And then Gabe said they might. Well, he said perhaps in response. I said, "Are you going to be doing a story to kind of explain where he's been for the length of time?" Because the kind of like TLDR of this is that if you've seen those State of the Battle realms, Frank Castle, Punisher, is not on them. And that's been like a running narrative for a long length of time. So to see him come back, I'm like, what the heck? What is going on here? And then there's stuff where he's kind of like, he may be a serpent. And then sometimes I'm looking at it like, is he like a symbiote? Is he... What the heck is he? And then it's like, I'm looking at the other character like this, what I thought was Entropy. And it's not. It's that Chrono Serpent. And also
right, and this is the character that Karina was talking to?
Yes. But apparently it's not the same. So according to Gabriel Facera, so the art director, creative director, Marvel Contest, he said that how to really treat this is different serpents and there's like different heads, like a Hydra type thing. So it kind of like expands the story into a weird... like so weird, but it's like it's intriguing. Also there's, I don't know, some kind of like assistance to the Chronoserpent, which is like a weird Hulk and a weird Black Widow. I don't know if you saw them, Dan.
Yeah. Is that sort of like, I don't know, is this like Nameless Thanos and his minions? Is it kind of a similar thing like that?
I think that's a very good kind of assessment right there, because it's just, they just look like, yeah, like the Nameless type thing, and maybe this is the new narrative for Act 8, possibly.
And
whether or not you have to fight various different types of these kind of like the Hulk one, the Black Widow one, so like Act 8.1, 8.2, or 8.2, 8.3, and 8.4 being you kind of have to fight the Chrono Serpent. But then, when you think like, okay, well, they're going to fight back against stuff, out of nowhere is a Herald of Galactus, Ancient One, who comes in and
now we
talks
know
about
where
balance.
Galactus has been this whole time and why he got sidetracked.
And it's like, this story just kind of... I know that somebody like said the part 1 was kind of... What did they say? Oh, the story was too predictable. And it's like, no, it's not. Look what happened.
Yeah, no, the second one was definitely not paint by numbers. No. For sure. I think the Galactus part was the part that I enjoyed the most, because it kind of answered that question, and really it feels like he's been missing in action for a while. I mean, obviously there's been teases, but I mean, there's been teases going on for like 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, like this guy needs to show up and start doing some stuff. And I was definitely getting some like end of Thor Ragnarok vibes as the Barons escape on the on their ship, and you know, they name drop Contest of Champions, and it looks like we're going to be seeing some more of them down the road, and I am excited about that.
Yeah, there's some really decent Barons. I mean, if there's people out there criticizing, would go like, oh, we don't want realm like champions coming in, like, I'm sorry, but the way that the Barons were designed were just some of the best looking ones, especially the way that Shuri looks, Madam Web. There's I'm just trying to think of some of the others, like the War.
There's the War Thor. There's Captain President Carter in
Scar as well.
Reality of the Battle world.
Yeah, Scar looks like just amazing.
Scar's cool. I love Scar.
It looks really well put together.
Yeah, Scar is definitely. I'm okay with one more Hulk if it's Realm Scar,
because that makes sense, because it's the son. It's the son of Hulk.
Yeah.
So and then the final fight takes place as Battle World is destroyed, as our heroes head to the Battle Realm. They're kind of fighting and it says here that Galactus will devour the big guy with the giant horned helmet, the only force in the universe capable of balancing the scales. Whatever the results of the cosmic clash, Battle World will not survive, or at least there won't be a lot of habitable places left in it. So yeah, that kind of like showcases the need to move on as well. It was fragile enough without a couple of cosmic giants stomping all over it. Bit sad. And yeah, you're right. At the end, there's the kind of the sad ending where is it Ananthe?
Anathi, yeah,
Ananthe?
yeah. She kind of signs off. She's like the streamer of the of Battle World.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's like it is like a bitter sweet ending.
It is a little bittersweet, but I'm glad that Gabe got to write an ending and tie it all in, and maybe leaves the door a little more open than we thought.
Yeah,
for some of these folks to show up again, which is good.
And it's nice to kind of see. I think like a nice kind of end, a nice story, and yeah, I hope that there's more of these characters into contest at a later date. But it's certainly kind of like exciting with like all these potential bosses that we all like bad guys that we could be seeing in the contest. And Kabam Mike put something I think on the he put on this not Discord on the forum saying. One story closes, another begins. In part 2, a mysterious figure, a long-lost champion, an awakening, and the bringing of balance. Prepare yourself because things are about to get interesting in the battle realm. So it's not the battle world, battle realm. And also just above that saying, but why does this matter to contest? So it definitely means that this is going to be stuff that impacts on contest as opposed to like saying, oh, this is just, I don't know, Marvel realm. And I don't know how this was going to be down the line for how the story tied in and how long they would have done this in any case, like going, okay, well, Maestro is dead, how did he die? And this was the mystery of kind of leading up to it. Like, was this, I don't know, a 2-year process to lead to here? Did they have to change the way that they did it because Realm died as a game? It would have been interesting to find out. I might want to see if we could get like Gabe in and ask about the stories of like how they plan to tie in the story.
What was the original plan?
Yeah.
As far as like timelines.
Yeah. We'll do that. We'll write a little kind of idea of podcast and then see if like he's interested in coming on. I'd love to do something like that.
Yeah, that would be super fun because that dude, there's just so many layers to like what he's doing, and you might think something's like really simple like in the game, but he's put a lot of thought into this stuff. Like he built out so much history and like this, the back stories of all the different cultures in Battle World. Like I've said a couple times, like I would read the novel of Battle World if he wrote it.
Oh hell yeah! That would be cool.
There was some great storytelling, some great art there. It's unfortunate what happened to the game. I mean, they're going to be shutting the servers down in a few days now.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to be saying goodbye to our friends from Battle World very soon. But it was a cool ride for the story, and I'm hopeful that the Battle World stuff can have a place in MCOC going forward. And I'm excited for where Act 8 might go now, because I think one of my big questions was like, well, who's the big bad coming up? Yeah. That was the thing, kind of like, where are we going? Who's the next big bad?
Because we didn't really get like a cutscene, an end cutscene at the end of completion, and it looks like I've not seen anything on Reddit or anywhere to say like, okay, well, what has happened at the end? And I guess that's going to be like Karina's stint. Like I know that there's like dialogue, and I maybe should have followed that as to like, well, how Karina was interacting during Act 7 to the latter point, but it just doesn't seem like with that cutscene, you don't really kind of like get to immerse yourself into the story that much. And I would have liked to have seen that like pop up. I'm just checking out on cutscenes just see if like there was anything that I can unlock if I'm wrong. No, there's a lot of ones that are still like locked. Act 8, Act 6, the end. Nothing there really. There's nothing there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I like you said, I think Reddit would have been all over it.
Yeah.
If there was something there.
It's a shame. Right, let's move on and talk about. I know we have touched on it a little bit, but I feel like we've got to do a little bit of dissection on some of this stuff. Act 7 rewards and general kind of like thoughts about this. We was going to we talk about like next week, but how do we feel about the level of difficulty to what we got back?
A lot better than I felt about Act 6.
Yes.
So
yes.
I mean that's for starters. I mean, I feel good about it, but I'm not one of those players that's on like the very cutting edge. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you're definitely getting a guaranteed rank 4 out of it. You're definitely moving forward. So I think that's good. I think it feels like all of the focus has been on the rank 4 gem, which I get it. That's the big item at the end of the day. But it seems like whether or not you like the rewards is solely based on how you feel about it being a random class rank 4 gem.
Yeah. I think looking at this, it goes in the same rewards meta structure where Act 5 was. Because the main thing about Act 5 is as soon as you ended it, you were able to get 100%ing based on the difficulty of content versus what you got back from it. You were able to say rank 5 a 5-star champion. I don't think were you able to do more than that?
Yeah, that's right. You had the tier 5 basic. So, but you could argue that Act 5 was better for the time because you could choose any champ.
Yes,
because it was just a catalyst. It wasn't a class based rank up gem. So they're going a little bit slower here.
Yeah, the Act 6 kind of 100% rewards. That's a little different to a degree, but it still fits a similar sort of narrative in that 6 stars, which kind of came into the game at the point of, I can't remember what year it was, you could only get up to rank 3 of a 6-star as opposed to any kind of like, well, it's not shifting you towards rank 5 6 stars. So you're kind of like gate kept on your ability to go further with it. And then like Act 7, because let's face it, by the time Act 6 was kind of done, people were just like bored with the laborious task of going, I need this champion specifically for this path specifically. I need this champion specifically to not feel like I'm going to be destroyed by Kabam's creation of weird ass nodes specifically. So this is when like Act 7 is that happy medium of you keeping a large quantity, and there are people out there that have vocal about it should be like the way it was, skill element and stuff like that. But it's like, well, you don't please a majority, you please a minority, and with the volume of people that play the game, that's like that's not going to be great for the player base ongoing if you're pissing off a lot of people. So where we've kind of got to is a point here where you can get I mean, if we're taking the chapter 4 as an example of like what you got for chapter 4 specifically, then you may kind of go, oh well, it's just the same as like chapter 3 in that there's small volumes, small increments of things that you would like with the current meta rewards of the game. It's the 100% that makes it for the entire act, that makes you go, this wasn't...
You can't really separate the two.
Exactly.
You're getting it at the same time.
Yeah.
So
the great thing about this is like, it's not redonkulously difficult, but it is well rewarded at the same time. Yep. It's that happy medium that really, really kind of has left people with a smile on their face after the content. And I've only seen that very rarely, especially in the last 12 months or so, a little bit longer than that, where people have gone away from a piece of content and they've gone, loved it. Predominantly loved it. And it's great to see, because it's very rare to see these posts. People come into the forums to say, well done, Kabam. And
positivity on the
yes,
forums, Richard.
I know.
My God.
It's great.
Maybe there is hope.
It is. So many kind of like praise. So much praise. It's nice to see. You're right. You don't normally see it on the forums. But it's like, it's so good to read.
I mean, I realize that, Act 7 is not perfect, but it's so much closer to what I want than Act 6 was, where Act 6 felt like every fight was a boss fight because it's like, okay, what are the 10 nodes I need to read for this fight? And then it's like the next fight, it's like a different set of nodes. And then there's 12 of these in a row, and then a boss, and then I gotta beat the boss 10 times. Like that just ended up not being that fun. Where the Act 7, yes, it's a little easier, it's a little more digestible, but what I like so much about Act 7 is the element of picking my team.
Yeah.
Where in Act 6 it more felt like a chore because okay, well I gotta balance out. It's like I need this person for this fight, this person for this fight. It's like, all right, this is kind of a B choice, but I can only fit 5. Whereas Act 7, it's like, okay, what am I trying to solve here? Who are the 5 champions I think can solve it?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's 3, and I'm bringing a couple for the boss, or I'm going to switch out and I'm playing that game. But it's like, do I understand what the challenge is here? Can I bring the right champions? And I'm finding that I'm bringing a lot of different champions. I'm using a lot of champions from my roster in a way that feels good. Like when you pick the right champ, this was fun to pick this champ. Like I don't use them a lot, but this was good. So like that part about Act 7 I really appreciate. You go in, maybe you test, maybe you restart. Oh, I had the wrong assumption here. I gotta switch it up. But it's not like you're getting 7 fights deep and running into this. And you're like, I don't have the right counter. I gotta restart.
Yeah.
Like once you kind of figure out like what the challenge is, you should be good to go. But a lot of the challenge of Act 7 is either in building a broad roster before you get to it, or figuring out like where the nodes are telling you to go. Like once you figure that out, like you're in good shape before your first fight in a lot of cases.
Yeah. I mean, I just think back to because I've got to revisit some of the Act 6.2 content, and
me too.
And that's just it's in my mind. Excuse me, it's in my mind that I've got to do that. I mean, I don't plan to revisit it until. I mean, my kind of schedule at the moment is before 23rd of April is to not 100%, at least. Yes, to 100% up to 7.4.5, and then do the initial completion, get the deal, and then figure out by the end of April to then do 100% set Act 7.4. That's my schedule. Anything after that, May onwards, will probably be about reassessing like my goals for the year, and it will include going back and revisiting old guides, and also taking myself through the content and figuring out like new counters, because like creating a spreadsheet, once I've created a good like path exploration boss interaction spreadsheet, once I've done that, that's great. I can just return back to it. If there's stuff that didn't work, people criticize about, other suggestions, I can redo it. That's great once I've done that, but I haven't done that yet. So once I do that, I then have got it there, and I can then on a yearly basis review it and kind of really make a kind of a beeline to work for the community on stuff, and that's nice. My plan. But then and I had to be very selfish this year and go, well, number one, I went free to play, and that's a part of like a not free to play because I've spent a non-spending, and I'm doing that for a 6 to 7 month period to kind of like just figure out some guides, make some stuff about that particular experience, but also my own targets and goals. Like I wanted to be focused on 100%ing Act 7 first, and once I've done that, get my rank 4 6 stars, so I'll get 2, and then figure out like I'm working for the community on things. But I had to be very selfish about it, because I just thought I spend too much time making content that's and I like making content for people. That's fine. But also, I don't find that I'm making my own progression as quickly because I'm focusing on other things. And I'm like, look, I need to smash my own like targets and goals first, and then but then that's good for content because then it's like, well, how did I achieve it? Yeah. And how I went about this. What was my process? Did I have any kind of pitfalls? What's the mistakes? What's the gains? Did I do this from a non-spending perspective? Yes. What do you do to mitigate any problems? I think then it works in different kind of ways with it, like kind of like sub challenge. But in any case, I digress on that. I think the unit deal. Let's just quickly kind of like touch upon that. So the deal that we talked about at the start of the. I'm just getting like an image up right here. Interesting because it's all about taking you through the exploration, and there was some big kind of kickbacks from people about, oh, why is it called exploration bundle? And that's something to kind of clarify because it's kind of like to help you explore.
Right, that's what the potions are for.
Yeah. That's really it. Saw a few people kind of like kick back on that one, and I think Kabam had to kind of explain that with it, but it's a very odd deal, especially if you kind of like I think you can only pick one. Is that am I right or wrong in that?
That's my understanding. Yeah,
it's good.
You can only pick one.
If you had, it's like hang on, I mean, like you must be really imbalanced with the amount that you've kind of accumulated if you go for the 3 tier 3 alpha and 3 tier 6 basic catalysts.
Yeah, those are lopsided, aren't they? That's what I saw looking at it. I was like, well, what do you still need the other half?
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Like you solved, you need both, but it's like, it's very lopsided. It's interesting.
I would like to meet somebody that is there going like, oh, I really need 3 tier 3 alpha right about now. That would be great to match my, was it 3 or is it like it's one of each, isn't it? Or no, it's not. It's 3 of each.
Yeah, it's more than one.
Yeah, so it's like you kind of like okay. I mean, it's a weird thing, but it's funny nevertheless to see it. But those deals, as we said, they're going to be massive game changers for any kind of roster because it will be your first opportunity to get a rank for 6-star. And look, that's great from a completion standpoint. If you've just gone through and completed, and that's the great thing about it. If you've just gone through and just done the completion of Act 7, then you might be looking back on this offer and going, this is great because this will get me my first ever rank 4 6-star. And also the 10 energy refills is like that's 10 paths already paid for by that without you having to dip into your units. It's going to mean people a very, very skint or without units for the July 4th deals. But it's still good nevertheless. Will you get the deal, Dan? If it comes up,
I don't know. I might have to change up some stuff to get through fast enough. I mean, I've got time. Probably get about 6,700 units right now, so I could get there if I needed to by April 22nd. But I don't know. I got to think about it. I haven't really had the time to sit down since the deal came out on Wednesday. Say, like, okay, is like this the most important thing for me to do in the next 4 weeks?
Yeah, this is why I'm kind of like I don't know if it's. No, I'm happy with what I'm doing with this. Well, I'm doing like a slow process of, well, once I've got energy, I will go and do a path of the next one. It's like, well, if I could by free energy do up to 7.4.5 in, I don't know, three days, give or take, by the free energy, that is, without using any energy refills or anything like that. But I'm like, well, there's not really anything much value because if I'm like, as soon as I'm there, I'm just like, well, what do I do? So I'm kind of doing more of a less 100% each quest as I go, and then kind of like make some guides, taking community feedback of what they used on paths, create the guide, put it out there, and see what happens. And also doing arena grind. So I'm now at the point of just right this second 5,600 units, which since I think started the grind process. It's up nearly 200 units, and I'm hoping by this weekend, fingers crossed, I'll be up to 6,000 maybe. I don't know how that'll go, and then I'll have to look at a process of like getting up to the extent of rotations of arena, which I have kind of like totaled up. It is definitely possible. I've just got to continue grinding and have a good process of when I want to say, okay, look, you've got enough units, let's go and do it, and also like a backup plan if things don't go well before is it 22nd or 23rd of
I think
April?
It's the 23rd, yeah.
23rd. I kind of have a look at like, okay, worst case scenario, when can I get the further 2,000 units if I'm not willing to, if I absolutely mess up my Kang fight. I don't see that happening because my new kind of grind process of picking up extra revives from lower content and solo event 22 hours does mean that this isn't going to be like as bad. And I've definitely got the champions for it. It's just a case of like, look, if things mess up, having backup plans, contingency plans, and things like that. So I think it's all good. Right. I think that's all the MCOC stuff kind of like ticked off the box to talk about. Yeah. Let's have a quick chat about MCU to kind of finish, because there's been quite a bit of stuff that's kind of like been going down, hasn't it?
Right, yeah. I mean, we've been in a little bit of a dead time since the Spider-Man movie came out, but now we're starting to get some trailers, and Moon Knight is almost upon us. So we've had a Moon Knight trailer, and we've had a Miss Marvel trailer in the last few weeks. No Thor trailer yet.
No, I'm really surprised about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's coming soon, right?
Yeah, I think I read something.
The Thor movie. When's the release date?
I want to say it's July.
Oh, did it get pushed? They keep changing the release schedules. It's so hard to keep track of these.
Let's have a quick look. Thor Love and Thunder. Yeah, 8th of July still slated.
Okay, all right. So we got a little bit of time, but they're gonna. I mean, maybe they at this point. I was gonna say they need to start building the hype, but they know we're gonna see it. Like,
yeah,
like come on, it's Thor with some Guardian stuff. Like, they're gonna be fine.
Yeah,
but I do want to see where they're going with this.
Yeah, with Thor: Love and Thunder, I did read that they were doing a reshoots for Christian Bale's gore, and
interesting.
I don't know if that ties into anything. It's difficult for because you say the trailer side of things, that would be something which is created a lot more earlier into the process, so it's a little bit more easier to kind of like grab, because a lot of the time you're just grabbing a little bit of an action sequence, a little bit of kind of a line that kind of like puts a bit of peril, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and a little bit of the CGI, a little bit some other characters to create a little bit of a sizzle and a hype, and some other stuff. But it's just very weird that we are less than 4 months. I'd say it's coming 3 months and a bit out, and there hasn't been any kind of promo there. But they're really pushing Moon Knight. Moon Knight's been massively.
They are really pushing Moon Knight right now. Yeah.
What do you think about the suit? Because this is one thing I was kind of thinking, like, how this all kind of like comes together. Like, I've been a bit kind of like cagey about it, but then I love the way that it's being more like how it bonds when he activates the suit. It kind of acts like mummy wrappings, which I love.
Yeah, it seems to be a little more mystical and tie in with his lore. Than I had maybe assumed. Like, you just like think like, oh, like it's a guy and he's gonna put on his suit, like, and that's not what we're seeing at all, right? Like it seems much more tied to his power. So, I'll admit I am not a big Moon Knight guy. I'm not a big fan of the Moon Knight comics, but I'm hopeful for the show that this show will give me a new appreciation for Moon Knight, much like the Punisher Netflix series did. I'm not a big Punisher guy in the comics, but I thought the Punisher Netflix series was really well done and kind of made that character three-dimensional for me, and of course just some great acting in that Punisher series. So I'm hopeful that Moon Knight does the same thing and gives me an appreciation for a character that is not high up on my list right now.
No, I think it's going to be well done with. I mean, Oscar Isaac is a fantastic actor in any case.
Right, and Moon Knight's a twisted character. Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot to chew on as an actor with Moon Knight if it's well written.
What's the kind of the start point of like how he's, or I don't know how it kind of like comes to be. I don't guess the show and how they're going to direction of it. Whether or not he gets his powers and then becomes a bit of a schizophrenic, so to speak, or he's like a schizophrenic and then becomes
Right.
then like the Moon Knight element to it then kind of corrects stuff. I'm not sure how they're going to approach it. From the trailers it's hard to guess these things, but it's just the way that he kind of like you can see from a mental standpoint he goes from being like, I want to say British and then American, because he's then first of all it's like he's kind of British. Why did you call me what is it, Stephen or something? Why did you call me Stephen? No, why did you call me Mark? Because his name is Stephen or something. And then it's just like things are then twigging in his mind of like previous, I think, acts and things he might have done. And he's kind of losing his mind and stuff like that. And I think that's kind of really cool to kind of play off of that and the battle between what has possessed him, the Moon Knight elements and powers. I'm a massive fan of I love Egyptology and I love the Mummies franchise. So this I think is gonna like tick a lot of boxes for me and things I'm gonna enjoy. So I am looking forward to this, which is dropping next week. So we'll get to kind of like start doing reviews, Dan. We haven't done reviews on stuff in a little while.
It's been a while, yeah. Since Hawkeye and Spider-Man in December. It's been almost 4 months now.
Jesus,
But yeah, we've got that, and then the Miss Marvel trailer also dropped.
Yes, that's. I don't know if I'm going to be overly keen on that, but I'll give it a good go, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that again, and not a character I'm super attached to. I haven't read any Miss Marvel comics. I'm kind of wondering how stylized this is going to be. Like, there was some cool stuff with like the comic book bubbles.
Yeah.
Like so I'm kind of wondering what they're doing with this. I know some people are upset because her powers have been changed. I am not attached to her powers, so I don't really know. Like, it seems like they're making her a little bit more Marvel-y, like Captain Marvel. So we'll see where it goes. I mean, it very much seems like this is like going to be our first like real like teen awkwardness Marvel kind of thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, this is why I kind of like I didn't warm to. It took me a long time to warm to Kate Bishop. It was only towards the end of the film that I kind of liked the way that the character was portrayed. I don't know if this is going to be one of these slow burners for me when it comes to like enjoyment. Definitely looks like there's, to the latter points, the way the suit looks towards the end of the series, but based on the trailers and based on like how the confidence level, how that builds, the believing in oneself, the motivation, the tie-ins with other kind of Captain Marvels. Once that's all been established, then it's just it'll be interesting where that goes. I think we're like really close to She-Hulk. I'm not 100% sure.
See, that's the one I'm excited about.
Yeah, I'm kind of like interesting on that one. I just can't remember like when it's going to drop. I need to have a quick look. It's still 2022, so it could be the latter point of 2022 when it drops. But yeah, it definitely seems to be good enough, and as well having Mark Ruffalo, Tim Roth. It would just be as well like how they do this. That's the other thing. How they do the CGI. That'll be my biggest kind of like thing right there. How they do the CGI. But anyway, any case, like next week we're back to reviewing, and I cannot wait for that.
It's gonna be a lot of fun, Rich. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
What are you up to next week?
Next week, just trying to get through these legendary side quest fights. Dragon tripped me up a little bit with her kitty pride. So props to Dragon, because that was an interesting fight. Because I was like, I got in, first 10 seconds or so, you're like, oh, this is nothing, and then you're dead.
Yeah.
So I really do like the community, the boss fights. So I got to catch up on week 3, and then we got week 4 coming up. So the rewards have been good. Short paths, like this side quest, and then as much Act 7 as I can do, Rich.
Yep, I'm there with you. Yeah, that's my plan for next week. Probably round off for the month and try and get the side quest done. Not going to do the Cavalier difficulty. I'm going to focus on Act 7 base grinding. And just put out some guides, some other kind of like fun stuff. Enjoy myself whilst I get the opportunity. And that's been it. That's been the show. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming by, listening and watching. And we will see you next time for episode 89.